Okay. Uh, Hope such an inappropriate message. Blah, 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 not now. Um, this is extremely pointless. This is literally just me testing a bunch of stuff out. I'm sort of doing this in conjunction with my uh, television. This camera is from um, my laptop, and it's absolutely terrible. And I don't have the microphone positioned correctly. This is literally just a test. If anybody comes in here and says anything to me, I'm just going to talk about stuff and see. Check out like how try to get this like as good as I can get it. So, what happens if I do this? Is that a good enough angle? Oh, I think what I'm gonna do is I'll do a test on this. God, that looks god awful. That really I'm looking at this right now, and that looks really terrible. So I'll do a test on this, and then I'll try to do this from my phone, and we'll see how it goes. Ay, ay, ay. So I figure since I'm doing this, since I'm taking the trouble to do this, I should probably talk about something. I don't know what, and I don't know who possibly would ever bother to watch this at 11 o'clock at night here on the West Coast. But seeing as it is a test, tests are good. So I'll hang around for a minute and see if anybody shows up. This camera is absolutely terrible. So is there any info appear on the thing? No. 1 of 64. This would be so cool if I could just do this from my Xbox. I do everything from my Xbox. The Kinect camera is freaking actually pretty dope. But I can't, so well, I could if I jerry rig it enough. So if 2 people come in here, I'll talk about The Last Jedi. Should have titled this something better. I should have titled this something like I'm going to talk about The Last Jedi. But I didn't. Oh, now you're gonna hear my air conditioner. This is really exciting, folks. My air conditioner just came on, and it is the bee's knees. Maybe we should fuck around. See, now you can really hear it. Yeah, there you go. Fuck around with my settings a little bit. Okay, well, even though nobody's here, I will talk about The Last Jedi, and if people show up at 11 o'clock, all the better. So there seems to be some controversies about the movie The Last Jedi, Star Wars. The controversies ranging from, in my opinion, ranging from opinions that I disagree with, having to do with the way the film was constructed, the way that the characters were being portrayed, likewise, and ridiculous conspiracy theories about the writers and the filmmakers. Porgs! Hi, Zeph Rot. How you doing? Porgs. I'm hoping some people... this is literally just a test of my ability to live stream somehow. I'm doing it through my laptop webcam, which is from 2011, and it's absolutely god-awful terrible. Under normal circumstances, I would have just put my Stand and Stand logo picture up, but I don't really know how to do that when I'm live streaming. I don't really care. It's just a test to see the efficacy of doing something like this. So, and to see, like, position all this stuff correctly and how my microphone can pick up my air conditioner and all that good stuff. So, yes. Do you know of Warhammer 40K? Dude, that is weird. I was just thinking about Warhammer 40. I wasn't thinking about it, actually. My, excuse me. I was watching one of my new favorite YouTube channels. It's a guy who does, talks about medieval weapons and medieval fighting, and Hema, I think it's called. It's an abbreviation. It's old fighting styles. And he started talking about Warhammer 40K, the practicality of the weapons or lack thereof and whatnot. And he was throwing up pictures of 40K, and it started making me realize how much I appreciate the art style. So I know. So the long, weird answer to your question is, I know of it. I have no idea what it's about. I've never followed it. I've never gotten into it. I know very little about it, but I've seen pictures of it, and the pictures that I've seen of it, I think, are really cool. Have you seen Star Trek Discovery? I have seen the pilot for Star Trek Discovery. I thought this pilot was very good. I got my 5-day free trial when the pilot came out, which was a mistake, and I realized my mistake soon after. This is also a mistake. I realized my mistake soon after, because I should have waited until the whole fucking season was done and then got the free trial and just binged it. But I saw the pilot. I thought that the pilot looked really promising. I really liked the pilot for the most part. I thought it was a very interesting modern take on Star Trek, and a modern take on the storytelling, a modern take on the themes, and a modern take on how to watch it, which I thought was really interesting. But I have not seen the show enough to know if it's a good Star Trek show. Why do you call Padme Ubaduba? I don't. That's my brother. If you want to ask Confused Matthew a question, go to his live stream. Stupid! No, I'm just kidding. If anybody knows what that reference is from, everybody knows what that reference is from. It's from South Park. I don't call Padme Ubaduba. I call her Padme. It's Padme. If Star Wars are samurai in space, then it seems 40K are Templars in space. That sounds really interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that. Something fierce. By the way, I'm watching my own thing as I do it, And I really apologize for the video quality. The audio quality, now that my air conditioner is turned off, is fine. I really apologize for the video quality. So yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about The Last Jedi. I mean, you guys keep throwing up your questions. This is fine. Like I said, this is just a test to see if I can do this and to see how long I can go and whether or not I'm good at live streaming, because I'm usually not good at things off the cuff. As I say, The Last Jedi seems to have controversies that range from opinions that I disagree with having to do with the characters and the story and whatnot to, in my opinion, weird conspiracy theories about the writers in the studio and politics and all that I didn't. Other people saw that I didn't. You and Matt have extremely similar voices. You could take over his movie review channel and nobody would know the difference. They would know the difference. You know how they'd know the difference? I'm not good at reviewing movies. I don't have that mind that he does for that what he does. I never have. Yes, I could sound like him. I could do a very, very good confused Matthew impression. Other than that, it would be terrible. I can do the overly excited reviews. That stuff I'm going to start doing on my own channel. The overexcited, I have a lot of movies that I want to yell and scream about and say interesting things about. Eat his brain, gain his knowledge. If only it worked that way, I would have done that a long time ago. We started off so awesome that we had to separate into two people in the womb to... Otherwise, it would have been like a Khan from Star Trek kind of a situation. Is this microphone being right here in front of my face annoying? Would it be better? Would it be better over here? Or nah, I don't like the way that sounds. I'm gonna... is this the first video where you're doing a face reveal? I think so. Yeah, I think so. It's not really a reveal. I think I've shown my face on other stuff before, but as I say, I said at the beginning, I've got allergies, by the way. It looks like I'm doing lines of coke or something. I swear to God, I'm not doing cocaine. As I said, I would have normally I would just throw up a picture of my cartoon face, but I don't really know how to do that. And this is literally just it's a test of my audio. It's a test to see how serviceable this webcam is, which is not that serviceable. This looks like something that would have been filmed in 2004. This looks god awful. I'm watching it as I'm doing it, but nobody's leaving, and there's like 5 people here and nobody's leaving, so that's good. God, what was I going to say about that? Oh, under normal circumstances, I would just turn on my I actually have the Xbox One Connect, and Xbox has a YouTube app, but the Xbox... Stop listening. And when it does that, this thing stalks me. That was the Connect that it heard me say things to it. God. Anyway, the Xbox has a YouTube app, and the Kinect is it's a better webcam than this, but there's no way to live stream from the YouTube app from the Xbox, which is fucking lame. So, in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with poor video quality if the content is a discussion. Okay. So, all right. Well, I was going to talk about The Last Jedi or anything. You guys keep posting. This is good. This is what I want to keep it coming. Bring it on. This is what I want to see if I'm able to do, because I'm usually not that good off the cuff, but I'm going to try to do that more. So, as I say, The Last Jedi, opinions I disagree with to weird conspiracy theories, but I was reading in preparation for doing this, I was reading the Wikipedia page for it, and I read something funny. This is the part that says audience reception, and the audience reception section reads as follows: audience reception measured by scientific polling methods was highly positive. Audiences randomly polled by CinemaScore on opening day gave the film an average grade of A on an A+ to F scale. Surveys from SurveyMonkey and ComScore's post-track found that 89% of audience members graded the film positively, including a rare 5-star rating. The user-generated review sections of Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic contained scores that were significantly more negative, achieving ratings of 47% and 4.6 out of 10, respectively. Several reviewers speculated that the low user scores are the result of manipulation, either by coordinated vote brigading from internet groups or from bots. Courts noted that some new accounts gave negative reviews to both The Last Jedi and Thor Ragnarok, while Bleeding Cool stated that reviews for Thor had tapered off up to that point, but skyrocketed afterwards. In response to tampering claims, Rotten Tomatoes released a statement that they did not detect any unusual activity, aside from a noticeable uptick in the number of written user reviews on The Last Jedi. Now, honestly, so where do I start? Audience reception measured by scientific polling methods was highly positive. A movie score and the aggregate of popular opinion is not important. It's not something that requires that much scrutiny. It's not something that requires major scientific institutions to get themselves involved in it, and it's not something that requires a major investigation to see if there was any rigging or fixing. It's a movie review. So I found that really funny. It was kind of like, I remember one time Bill O'Reilly said that Fox News was number one and all that, with all these demographics, except like some of these demographics he thought it should be higher, so they thought that they were, or someone was tampering with the Nielsen ratings, and that there should be an investigation for the the fucking Nielsen ratings to properly show that everybody likes Fox News. I don't know. That just seems really that just seemed funny to me. It was a poll, yes. I love The Last Jedi. I didn't like that Luke used his green lightsaber at the end. That didn't stand out to me. A lot of people, this is in the people's opinions that I disagree with portion of my opinion. So maybe I'll just state my opinion of the movie. I loved The Last Jedi. I thought that it was every bit as good as the original films. I thought it was in the spirit of the original films. I really liked the first one in the new trilogy too. What the hell was that one called? The Force Awakens. I really like The Force Awakens too. Russian hackers. Yeah. Everything's Russian hackers now. What I liked about The Last Jedi was that it does something that I love in fiction, and particularly in fantasy and sci-fi. It took the expected arcs and the expected roles and the expected outcomes, and it turned them completely on their heads. And with the Luke Skywalker character in particular, there seems to be some resistance to the fact that his character was hold on, something weird just happened with the chat. The problem with aggregating review scores is that there is no standard to which each increment in the star rating percentage means it's extremely subjective. What's the difference between a 47% and a 70 or a 74% and a 77% Metascore? I agree. I don't think that there's I liked Siskel and Ebert's thumbs up, thumbs down, and they would tell you why you I like that a lot more. This treating a movie, treating the recommendation of a movie like the outcome of a popularity contest is weird to me. Like, this movie was rated 30% on Metacritic, and so it must be bad because not very many people like. I don't know. There are movies that I really like that probably wouldn't have gotten very good aggregate scores. I don't know. I'm when it comes to comedy, I can have some pretty questionable taste. I actually thought Freddy Got Fingered was funny, and nobody liked that movie but me. But I liked it, and I would tell other people to see it. If you want to see something just stupid and just unbelievably dumb and crazy and out of, although to be fair, I was laughing at Rip Torn. I wasn't laughing at anybody. I wasn't laughing at Tom Green or anything. I was laughing at Rick Torn's character. I thought he was the perfect, absolutely perfect straight man in that movie. And he was just such a weird. It was so jarring to see him play opposite somebody like Tom Green, who's just in a completely different universe than where he comes from. The hell was I talking? Oh, Last Jedi. Okay. So Luke Skywalker. People seem to have take issue with the fact that Luke was depressed and he was so done with it, and that he for one quick second he was gonna he was like, he looked at Kylo Ren when he was sleeping and he saw what was inside him, and he was like, and his saber turns on. He's like, oh shit. I am 37 years old. I will be 38 years old in January. I am very, very close to 40. That is a very strange experience for me. When I started doing Stand-In Stan, I was in my 20s. And there is a big difference between then and now, but it doesn't feel like one. And when you're young and you have these great victories that happen in your life, hopefully when you're young, I did. During the Stand-In Stan time, I was building kind of everything that led to the way that my life is now. And when you're young and you're optimistic and you've got all this energy and you got this fire and you got this optimism and your whole life is ahead of you, and you get this big victory and you're like, yay, and you dance in Teddy Bear Land and there's fireworks going off and you're like, no, what was it? Each up, Toby Chicken, my camera's fucking terrible. So then you do that, and you're like, and everything's, you're gonna live happily ever after, and then your imagination just goes from there. You come to find out that that is not the end of history, and you've come to find out that that is not the way that things are always going to be, and you come to find out that you have new challenges that are more difficult than what you faced before, personal challenges and other challenges, and you get to a point in your life when, as you get older, as I'm getting older, where you go, what the fuck? This was supposed to be I'm supposed to be living in the happily ever after part of this. And and there are new challenges and there are really weird, scary things happening. And you do, as you get older, some of us do, I have, get a little bit jaded, a little bit jarred, a little bit cynical, and a little bit get off my lawn, and a little bit who's being tired of it after a while. And to see them do that with Luke, to see them for them to have had him realistically age in terms of his outlook, I thought was really cool. That was one of the things that I thought was really cool about that movie. And I didn't feel like he was a completely different person. I felt like he was an older, more hardened, more seasoned version what Luke would be like if he had fell on really, really harder times as he got older. So to the Luke Skywalker issue of that movie, that's what I thought about that. That's without going into some of the more like conspiracy theories about the writers and stuff, things having just to do with the movie. I really liked the Rose character. Will you be drinking gross milk? Probably. I will probably be doing something like that. I watched this movie with a friend of mine, and he what's the word I'm looking for? He naturally, of his own accord, that got a chuckle out of him. He really thought that was funny, and yeah, he just looked like a crazy old man who was living off the land. And I don't get what people's deal with that was. I thought that was pretty funny. I have evidence that I can, upon request, produce. I was texting my brother and various other people during bathroom breaks when I was watching this. And before anybody had an opinion about this, before anybody thought anything about this, I was texting out how much I loved the Rose character, which is apparently a character that everybody hated to the point. I just got a text. Hold on a second. Oh, fuck off. Okay. Apparently everybody hated her, and I don't understand why. And I immediately thought that her inclusion, the inclusion of a character like that in this movie was kind of brilliant, because unlike some characters in some sci-fi movies that involve like a resistance movement or something, she seemed like the kind of person mentally and emotionally that would actually be in a crazy resistance. The people that are in these kinds of resistances and military outfits and that kind of thing usually are kind of fucked up in the head and kind of weird and kind of weird. And based on a lot of the like military fiction and stuff that I read, and a lot of the fantasy stuff that I read, I thought she fit that kind of a role perfectly. Didn't understand the seeming outrage over that character. I'm trying to think of what some of the other criticisms of the movie were, not criticisms of the writers or the producers. Didn't the actor get harassed online? It seemed that way. Yeah, she certainly felt like she was getting harassed to the point where she left. She either left Twitter or Instagram. I want to say Twitter, but it might have been Instagram. Let's see, what else? What were some of the other things? Instagram. Oh, hey, Alex, what's up? Yeah, Instagram. Oh, yeah, she left Instagram because she felt that she was being harassed on it. I really liked how Poe Dameron was wrong. I really liked how, again, taking these arcs that you think are going to be the arc and turning them on their head. This is the bread and butter of the stuff that I really, really like. This is one of the reasons that I'm not. Last Jedi is nowhere even in the same neighborhood as this movie, but that's one of the things that I liked about my favorite movie, Blade Runner, is that it counterintuitive stuff really grabs me. And I really like the fact that we, the audience, are so used to this kind of thing that we're supposed to think that he's God, this space Laura Dern. Of course she's wrong. Of course, get her off the bridge. Of course, take over and do your big hero thing. And that wasn't the right thing to do, and that wasn't part of the plan. And I really like the fact that part of Leia's goal was to teach him why he needs to be a part of the team and not just try to be the big hero and save the day and all that. And there were all these questions like, why didn't they just tell him? Why didn't they just tell him what the plan was? So why didn't they just tell him? Because they have no fucking responsibility to tell him. He's the member of a military. You don't have to explain your orders. You don't have to justify your authority. They're in charge. They're the ones they're his superiors. And he needed to learn, and I like how this is a deliberate effort to get him to learn. He needed to learn to be a part of the team. Which is something that you don't usually see hero characters having to learn from other people in the movies. I really liked that. I liked all the stuff between Kylo Ren and what the hell is her name? Rey. I liked all the stuff between Kylo Ren and Rey. I don't recall that much criticism about that stuff. Trying to think of some of the other things that I heard. Fuel. The spaceships have fuel. Fuck off. It's a movie. Snoke. Oh, okay. I understand that a lot of people were invested in the question of who this guy was and where he came from, and expanding on his role in retrospect. For people who were disappointed that they didn't, or they might in the next movie, but for people who were disappointed that they didn't resolve that in this movie and that he was killed so quickly and easily, that's your prerogative. I understand. I might feel that way if that had been my thing. One of the things about dictators, if you think of Stalin, Hitler, any of the Kims, any of the Kim Jong whatevers, they are usually nothing without their backup and the ire of the people, or at least their supporters and the party or line or whatever it is. You think of the end of like V for Vendetta when the guy's just weeping and he's just nothing. And you think of a guy like Snoke who you've built up in your head the way that people might build up a Stalin or a Hitler or something like that. And Saddam Hussein actually came to mind when Snoke died in that movie, of the really, really early cell phone footage of him being hung. And you look at something like a Saddam Hussein being hanged, or something like a Snoke getting cut in half, and I think you very rightly in all of those cases say, damn, that motherfucker ain't shit. And I had a lot of joy saying that. Like, I was just like, that guy was nothing. And they are nothing. Dictators are nothing. And potentates are nothing. Cult leaders are nothing. And in that respect, I really liked that and really related to it. But I understand why people were disappointed that at least in that movie, they didn't get the character reveal. Although I heard a lot of people, I bet it's Mace Windu. Why would you want it to be Mace Windu? Okay, it's Mace Windu. Does that change anything? Porgs. I called my brother. I always see these movies the day before they're released because I have a friend who gets special tickets and stuff. So I called my brother and I told him I liked it. I said I wasn't going to say anything about it, not a word. And he asked me, he said, just tell me, were the Porgs annoying? And I said, the what? He said, the Porgs. I said, I don't know what that is. I still don't know what that is. I don't recall seeing those things in the movie. I saw that people told me about it later, that I was supposed to be irritated about it, and they showed me the stuffed animals in it and everything. I don't recall seeing those things. And then as I thought about it, I was like, oh, weren't they on like hanging around the Millennium Falcon or something, or hanging out with Chewie? And I don't know. It just went right by me. It didn't. I did not feel strongly about them one way or another. They were background window dressing to me, and they were fine by me. They didn't seem to have an essential role in the film the way that the Ewoks did. I know a lot of people thought that the Ewoks were annoying. They didn't seem to. They were just something in the background as far as I was concerned. Thoughts on Rey being called a Mary Sue? Okay, I do not see her as a Mary Sue. Does she have powers and abilities that she did not receive training for? Yes. Is she proficient in things without having to go through the trials of becoming proficient in those things? Yes. The question is why? And one of the things that I thought was really interesting about The Force Awakens was once they established what her moral state was, that she was a scavenger and she could kick some ass, but when this little droid needs protection, somebody offers to buy him, and it would set her up for the rest of her life, and she just can't do it. Nothing through, and you get that information through nothing but seeing her face too. I really liked that. And then she has all these abilities, and she can fly spaceships. You would think that somebody who grew up on that planet and was like able, mechanically inclined like she was, could do that with some skill, but she was a little bit better than she probably ought to be. God, sorry. I've got this acid reflux. I've got allergies and acid reflux. I am just a mess right now. So her abilities, her untrained abilities, being better than professionals' trained abilities. Even for an instant or two, Luke Skywalker's. When she started doing that in The Force Awakens, wasn't it during the torture scene or something, where she started, or she tried to fuck with that guy's mind, and he was like, "Fuck you, I'll tighten the straps" or something, and it just didn't work out. Eventually, I realized what kind of character they conceived, what kind of character inspired her. It's Jason Bourne, okay? She's Jason Bourne. She's Jason Bourne in outer space. She's Jason Bourne, but with the Force instead of karate abilities or whatever it is. No memory of how they have those abilities. She just has those abilities, and then you find out later how she got them. And you didn't really find out in the second movie either. You probably will in the third. But having a Jason Bourne-like character in a Star Wars movie, I thought was special. I thought it was interesting. I haven't seen that in a sci-fi movie that I could. Well, River from Firefly was. But so I guess I have seen that in a sci-fi movie before, but not in a Star Wars movie. But so that I thought that was a really interesting thing, and the fact that I don't get where people are getting this Mary Sue thing from. It's like they think that they didn't have the idea to make her a prodigy and have the mystery of where her prodigy abilities come from be part of it. It's like they think they just made her awesome just for no reason. I don't know. I don't get that. I don't understand that. I don't think that she's a Mary Sue unless we're willing to say that Jason Bourne is a Mary Sue. And if you want to say that, then both of those characters are Mary Sue's for a reason, because that's part of the story. That's part of the mystery. If you take that away, there's no character. You take that away, there's no. It's just some normal person. And how many times have we seen a guy here's all your training, and you go to the school, and you all stand there and do this with your thing, and I don't know. Just at least it was different. Gary Sue for Gary Sue for Jason. Nice, very nice. Snoke is Jar Jar. Yeah, it would have been about the same as he's Mace Windu. Anything else? Anything else? I'm trying to think of more criticisms. Jason Bourne never gets called a Gary Sue. That's right. Damn right. He doesn't get called a Gary Sue, because if you call him a Gary Sue, he'll punch your fucking face off. And he'll be like, wait, how did I do that? I must be a Gary Sue. Let's see. What else? What else do they have on the old Wikipedia? I'll let you guys think of some things. I'll check out the old Wikipedia page, see if I find anything more that's funny. Reviewers characterize The Last Jedi as divisive among audiences. Todd Vanderwerf of Vox found that disgruntled fans saw the film as too progressive. That's okay. Now we're getting into the weird thing that I don't understand. Disliked its humor, plot. Oh, the Marvel humor. Yeah, there was some of that. That's a valid criticism. Although I have to say, I feel like. Is it even worth bringing up Rose? Or Orange Game Cinema asked that. I addressed that earlier in this. I'll give you the short version. I really liked the Rose character. I have evidence that I was texting out while I was seeing it. I watched this movie the day before it was released. So I had no exposure to any opinions about it. And I was texting my brother how much I like the Rose character, because she struck me as the kind of person with the kind of mental and emotional instability that would actually be in a resistance movement. And I've never seen that in a Star Wars movie before. She didn't have a cool factor. She actually seemed like a weird, jittery resistance fighter. So I don't know. I didn't, in that sense, I thought, here's a few more. In that sense, I thought I really liked that. I thought that was really fresh and interesting and new, and I hadn't seen that in Star Wars before. Bombs falling in space. I don't give a shit. Things happen in space. Go watch Silverhawks. There's air up there. Space in movies doesn't have the same kind of rules as in real. And if you're really into the physics continuity of the Star Wars universe, I can understand why that would bother you. I'm not. I don't really know that many people who are. If you are, that's definitely going to be an issue for you. I don't think that's a flaw with the movie. I don't think that affected the movie. Captain Phasma. I don't understand why, other than the fact that she had an interesting suit of armor, why people thought that this was going to turn into a main character. Maybe people wanted her to be a main character because of the outfit, but I didn't see it as any great loss. I didn't have any set of great expectations for what Captain Phasma was going to be. It seemed to me kind of Boba Fett-ish, where Boba Fettish seemed to be kind of Boba Fett-esque, where like a really cool suit of armor, and you want this person to be a character, and then later they'll retcon him into something, or maybe they'll retcon her into something. But I didn't see that as any great loss or any great disappointment, at least as far as I was concerned. The flight of Princess Leia. People use the Force to do all kinds of weird things. I don't get it. Why? What was so? I didn't think it looked that ridiculous. So how else are you going to portray somebody floating through space? I don't know. That one again, that didn't jab me the way that it seemed to jab other people. Thoughts on Leia's fate for episode next? I really couldn't tell you. She gonna have an off-screen death? Is it gonna begin with her funeral? Is she gonna be on some place generaling? Are they gonna CG her? I can conceive that they would possibly do a CG tribute to her where she's on some other place generaling and she pops up on a screen and say, hi, how you doing? And the screen's blurry and so it doesn't look like CG or whatever. But yeah, I really couldn't tell you. It's really shame that she shame that she passed. You see the half in the bag of The Last Jedi. I haven't actually. I never even thought about that. I haven't been watching Red Letter Media enough. I've gotten into this weird other stuff for the last while. I've been actually watching a lot of politics stuff. Like I've been watching a lot of Stargon of Akkad and stuff like that, just to do the kind of videos that I have been doing on Stand in Stand. But as you can see, I'm trying to expand into other things. So maybe I'll do just that. Maybe I'll watch the half in the bag of The Last Jedi soon. Lay off the politics a bit. Maybe. Well, yeah, a little. I'm gonna do more overexcited movie reviews and stuff, and try to diversify my subject portfolio. What if Sargon was a Jedi? Then he would be a Jedi. He would be, what are they called, Jedis? He'd be a Jedi. I don't know. Let me see. Would Irini be a Sith? Gosh, I meant with all due respect. Oh, I know. Davis Irini and company were very nice to me. That's all I really want to say. I think that it's important to have open dialogues with people who are on different sides of things. We can do one of two things. We can either yell and scream at them like everybody else, or we can try and find common ground and at least it's funny when I go into MRA forums and stuff, or the little covert things that I do to go into different people's spaces and whatnot. You hear the same kind of rhetoric that you'll hear a lot. You know the kind of rhetoric that I'm talking about at first, until you're like, okay, I get what you're saying. Let me tell you why I think this, that, and the other thing. And I agree with you here. I totally agree with you here. Let me tell you why this, that, and the other thing. And when you would be amazed how quickly that changes when they feel like they're being listened to, genuinely. When you really are listening to them and trying to relate to them, and at least this comes from somewhere. I genuinely, honestly believe that there are very few actual monsters that exist. Somebody experienced something that made them think this way, and you've experienced things that make you feel certain ways, and when you find that, you put that together, it's great. So I believe in that. I don't believe in yelling and screaming or vilifying. Darth Irini is going to make the galaxy great again. Maybe he will. I don't know. I think the galaxy is pretty good on its own. Thoughts on The Amazing Atheist? Thoughts on the Amazing Atheist banana video. I don't know what that is. TJ is somebody that I have been watching. So there's my air conditioner. Hey, everybody here, my air conditioner. Yeah. Amazing Atheist is somebody that I've been watching since like 2000 and since I started. And I've never really addressed him, which is strange. I think I was going to make a video about him back in the early Stand and Stand days, but I just didn't. He doesn't trigger me enough to respond to. You don't want to know about the banana video, trust me. Okay, I believe you. I'm gonna look it up after this. Rational Lines, did someone leak the video of him doing a sexual thing with a banana? Oh, okay. Who doesn't do sexual things with bananas when they're off camera? Wait, what? No, his brand of atheism, and not his brand of atheism. Atheism isn't a brand. His brand of communicating atheism and skepticism is something that has always seemed to me to be, unhelpful. I'll say that. Unhelpful. Most unhelpful. Most unable to preach to anybody besides the choir. For talking to the choir, it's fine. His videos are not bad. His views are things that I often disagree with, but that's his deal, and people either like him or they don't. They either watch him or they don't. I think I could speak to specific videos that he's made about atheism or against Christianity that I thought were off base, but I have no issue with him particularly, except for his disposition is something that I've never meshed with that well, but we're on YouTube. We don't know each other, so I don't have to mesh with him. I would never mesh with him. Thoughts on Stefan Molyneux? I think he's mentally ill. I think that there's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with his affect. I'm mentally ill too. I have actual mental illnesses, so I probably shouldn't say things like that. But you know what I mean. There's something wrong with his affect. This is coming from some strange place. Someone leaked a video of him doing sexual things with a band. Oh, I already read that. Yeah, yes, okay. He also had a separate video with hot oil. Now, God, I have to see this. $1 will get you one argument. Yes, Stefan Molyneux I shouldn't have said that mentally ill thing. I don't mean mentally ill as in having an actual diagnosed disease. I mean it's the kind of elaborate weaving together of cherry-picked facts and anecdotes into this weird amalgamation of said facts and anecdotes into a preconceived conclusion that you want to be true that I find to be the case when I watch him. Thoughts on the channel? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. Hold on. Thoughts on non-aggression parenting? I don't know what that is. Tell me a little bit about that. I'm going to look that up. Non-aggression parenting. Hold on. Let me Google this. I'm not going to read anything. I'm going to move on to the next one. I just want to have it up on my Fizzone. Non-aggression parenting. I am a parent, so I don't. I can have an opinion on non-aggression parenting. Everythingvoluntary.com. Oh, wow, this seems. Hold on, I want to see if there's a Wikipedia article about this. Is there a Wikipedia? Wikipedia? No. Take a non-aggressive approach towards non-aggression parenting and everything. Okay. What's some of the other ones? Basically don't spank your kids. Let me get Alex's 2.0s out of the way. Thoughts on the channel awesome controversy? I don't know what it is. My buddy Andrews described it to me. It seems like people were being harassed in some way or messed with in some way or but poorly treated in some way that went on and on and on and on until they finally didn't work for the channel anymore and then started speaking out about it. That's the way it was described to me. I don't have an opinion. It's not my business. I don't mean it's none of my business. I mean, I don't own the business that it's happening to. I have nothing to do with Channel Awesome. So I don't feel the need to speak on it. And plus, I don't really, even when it's been, guys, I take forever to form opinions about things. I take forever to form a hard opinion about things. I could give you the unprocessed ore of my thoughts, but it would just be a lot of that. But as I don't understand enough about it. I haven't thought enough about it to have this. Non-aggression parenting. This week we are going to discuss the NAP for those information. Is violence necessary? After all, growing up, I knew nothing of gentle parenting and only knew that there was an arbitrary good that we strove to meet. but always ended up ruining it by just being a kid. My parents were extreme too, but everyone I knew got spanked to varying degrees. I had a son when I was then I had a son. I was 18. Jesus. I knew that spanking was awful, and then it never worked on me, but I didn't have any other tools in my parenting toolbox. Let me stop right there. The tools in the toolbox part, I think that's really important. My goal is to treat every behavior issue as a teachable moment and a learning experience, because there are learning experiences that all kids do all day long is learn. Little kids, all they do is learn. They're Johnny Five, input, need more input. That's why they test boundaries and limits and stuff. It's not because they're bad. There's no spoiling the child. I mean, there is if you give them like anything they want anytime they ask for it, but they're not acting out because they're bad. They're acting out because they're trying to figure shit out. And I would rather, if we talk about like tantrums or something, I would rather the behavior continue if it's for the purpose of me reiterating things and explaining more and explaining in more detail and trying to give more information to the point where he understands why I'm saying not to do the behavior, why it's better for him that he doesn't, why it's better for others that he doesn't. And anytime there's a behavior like a tantrum or something, just reinforce that over and over and over again, because there's never not going to be tantrums. There's only how you react to them. In the early stages, between right now, my son is between 1 and 5, and God, sorry. Yeah, all there is 24 hours a day is just learning. 24 hours a day is just literally on the job training of how to be a person. And you want to capitalize on those moments, not just I don't believe in, it's not that I don't believe in it. I don't want to criticize anybody's parenting strategy. Everybody's child is different. Everybody is going to have use different methods of discipline and instruction. In my situation, I don't do behavior modification. I always try to do instruction, unless it's like running out in the middle of the street, and then unless it has something to do with their safety. I think that's pretty common sense for everybody. But if it's tantrums in a store or tantrums or something, or what was some other examples, like put that back, no, put that back, no, just teaching whatnot. I think Matthew once talked with Doug from Channel Awesome, if I remember right. He made a video saying that something like if you don't like Nostalgia Critic, he'll give you $80 of his own money or something. And the Nostalgia Critic, that Doug responded to him in a comment back, I think it had to have been 2008 or something, regarding something to do with Moulin Rouge. Oh yeah, no, he asked him permission to use footage of his Moulin Rouge review to do a response to it, and either Doug Walker or somebody said that it would be fine. Thoughts on circumcision? I'm against it 100%. There's no reason for it. There's no need for it, barring religious things. My estimation is that it is totally unnecessary, totally barring religious traditions, anachronistic. It's not something that should be done, in my opinion. Snippety snap, yeah. No, I'm not into snippety snap. I don't think that that's. I don't think that I do not find it appropriate. Oh. Sneeze coming on. Hold on. Yeah, okay. There it goes. Okay. What else we got? What have been going on here for like an hour? Yeah. Oh god, it's almost midnight here. I'm actually getting kind of tired, but I'm going to keep going until I don't feel like it anymore. Have you heard of Varg Vikernes? No. I'm West Coast as well. Hey, up in the Bay Area. What's up? Go Warriors, go Giants. Where's that across the universe review you promised years ago? I don't wanna. I don't wanna. I don't wanna do it. I don't wanna watch that movie. There's nothing I can say about it other than the fact that the songs were absolutely forced into. Um, they're absolutely forced into scene, or rather, I said that completely backwards. Scenes were forced to match the songs, but they didn't develop the characters to match the scenes that they went to go with the songs. And so you just have this god awful the scene where they do the "I get by with a little help from my friends" with my friend's song. Who were his friends? We didn't know. They dropped out of the movie right after that. So according to the song, they were these really important people to him, and then it's just no. We just needed that to mesh with the song. That movie sucked. That movie absolutely sucked. I only ever watched it the once. Varg is a black metal musician who went to jail for killing a man and burning down churches. He now lives in a pagan survive. He now lives as a pagan survivalist in France with his 7 kids. He makes YouTube videos. Holy shit! Can you link me the channel? Are you on my Discord? Is anybody here in Discord? Hold on a second. I'm going to link you guys to my Discord here so you can. I'm not active enough on it, but I want to try to be. So I'll send you an invite to the Discord and link it to me. But no, that I don't think chat will allow links. Yeah, Discord. That's why I'm looking at it. That's why I'm hooking you up with the disco. His channel is Thulin. Okay. Perspective. God, no, I had never heard of this. That's crazy, dude. That is just fucking crazy. Did you like those Chase Melendez 2001 response videos? Confused Matthew did back in the day. Yes, I really did. I really enjoyed those, and I think they're still mirrored somewhere. Some of them, a little bit of it is still out there somewhere. But did Chase fake his death, or did he actually die? I've heard varying and differing opinions about that. And there's the Discord, fellas. Get in there and link me stuff. I've heard disparate reports that he killed himself or he faked his death or something. And I talked about it with Dan, with Confused Matthew, and he doesn't want to talk about it, and he remembers it, and he hopes that he's still alive, and so do I. That was a really weird thing, yeah. But I liked both of their. You have to understand, I grew up, the stuff that you hear on Confused Matthew, that's what I heard growing up all the time. Like I said, I didn't really have the acumen for movie reviews that he did. I have ways of expressing opinions about things that I think are interesting or cool, but not quite the same degree as him. And when he gets like that, it's really, really interesting. But I never really challenged him on much of anything. It was really interesting to hear somebody challenge him on his views in some way, in a way other than saying, well, I liked it, and if you didn't like it, then fuck you, which is just as well. Apparently he committed suicide. That's a shame. That's a real shame. That should never happen. I never looked into it, but I heard from somewhere that he got involved with some really bad guys or something. It really sucks. Would you fight in the Portland riots? What are the Portland riots? I've never heard of that. I probably should have. Type your response. Hold on 1 second. I gotta hold on one quick second. Quick second. God, the video quality of this is awful. My hair looks awful, and everything. I look awful, and everything looks awful. Okay, so what are the Portland riots? Antifa. I'm making a video about them, dude. I'm making a video about them. Maybe I'll end up spoiling some things on the live stream. Antifa and patriots getting into a tizzy in Portland, people punching each other, is pretty funny. But funny's a relative term. This is like when people like when I've been getting more into this stuff, people send me videos of like SJW cringes or SJW fails and stuff, and like, oh, have you heard of this feminist said this and that, and about men and bad and white men are bad and whatever. And I tune that stuff out. I don't even, it doesn't penetrate my apparatus when I hear it. It's just so irrelevant to me, people like that. But after the Davis Arini conversation, I did go and seek out some people like that in some forums and talk to them. So I have finally engaged with people like that, and it was really weird, and I'll have more to say about that as time goes on. I talked to Chase a few times, and he seemed to dislike Matthew personally. Really? Oh, that's no good. Chase's videos are still on YouTube, by the way. Oh, cool. It's a shame. I would hate to think that he did that. Gosh. Thoughts on furries. Thoughts on furries. I have many. When I find out, this is one of the reasons that I really wanted to talk to Davis Arini and several other people that I wish that I could connect with and talk to. And I'm not comparing him to anybody. It's just when I find out, when people tell me that, hey, there's a forum with people who put oven mitts on their heads and dance around and pretend to be leprechauns, and then they like to get together and fuck and have sex and stuff, and that's like their thing. I like, show me where I have to talk to these people. I have to figure out how they think and where this came from. Where does this come from? I have to know that there's a meaning behind that. I immediately want to go talk to these people and find out about them, and I am fascinated. This might be TMI, I don't know. I am fascinated by the capacity for human beings to develop, should I sugarcoat this or not, fetishes for anything, just anything. There's like a fetish community for anything, and I'm fascinated about why the human person, why that happens within a person, and where it comes from and how it's developed, and what these people think and what they're like and everything. And I like to go talk to them and figure out what makes them tick. And if you're going to accuse me of being a furry, then fuck you. But speaking of furries, my cat's messing around with the wires up by my TV. Bucci. Psst. Sorry. I think that maybe he just disliked his style. This was years ago. I can't exactly remember the context 100%. Yeah, it was a while ago. Most furries don't have suits. Yes, that's true. I knew one personally that only had a tail, and he wore the tail all the time. It was the only one I ever knew personally. I didn't seek him out. He was a friend of a group of people that I knew who were in a polyamorous relationship, which polyamory is another thing that I have extensive opinions about. It ain't my place to judge the way that people live their lives. I'm a live and let live kind of guy. But kill, Mary, fuck Kevin Spacey, kill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein. Kevin Spacey, Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein. Oh fuck, I don't know, dude. I'm just way too late at night for this. Kill, Mary, fuck. I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to marry anybody. I don't want to fuck anybody. I don't want to do any of that shit. Is Matthew a brony? No, he's not a brony. He likes the show, but he's not a brony. Oh man, a lot of dudes from my high school had the tail. Really? What years did you go to high school? I was in high school in the mid to late 90s, so it was different for me. I don't think we had those back then. I think we had people that saw cartoons when they were little, that when they grew up they were like, I might want to fuck this mouse thing, but I don't think we had those communities back then. 10 to 14. Is that 2010 to 2014? Is that what you're trying to tell me? That you were in high school? Fuck you. Fuck you. I got married in 2011. My son was born in 2014. Fuck you. It was in high school. So for people, I didn't mean that, by the way. From 2010 to 2014, there were furries who went to your school. That's really interesting. Did they get bullied, or did anything untoward happen to them? Were they like closely knit, actual presence on the campus? I want to know. This is interesting. Have you listened to Vaporwave? No, I don't know what that is. My opinion on furries. So there are two, as I understand it, this breaks down into two kind of separate but equal things. One is just a straight up sexual fetish where people like the look of animated human looking anthropomorphic animal things. I know there's a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog stuff like that, and other things. So there's people there's an aspect of this is just purely a sexual fetish, and they will go so far as to dress up as the mascot costumes, just my air conditioner again, and get together and fuck and do that kind of thing. The other aspect that may or may not be included in that, as I understand it, is the fursona, where they would make up a character. Probably, I would assume it's like when I make up characters in D&D and stuff, except I don't pretend to be them except during the game, but that would be like their whole life. I would think that would, or some other. Yeah, it would have to be like when I play D&D, except it's not playing D&D. They're just dressing up, and I'm going to be whatever I don't know what names they use. I'm going to be this for the day because I can't be me or something. That's at this point, that's my crude understanding of it. And what does your wife think about you doing these broadcasts? She's fine. She's fine with it. I think she's been dealing with my frustration. I've been trying to do this better. These are my little tests of trying to do it better. And it's not at all working out the way that I want it to, because my laptop is very old and everything has to go through my laptop. I've learned this now. So I'm trying to get a better computer to do this. But no, she's totally fine with it. Very supportive. We had a pretty big anime club after school. I never went to it, but quite a few people there had those tails. It probably wasn't a furry thing, more of an anime cat thing. Okay. Neko is what they called it. Okay. That's cool. We didn't have anything. There was the goth kids and the rap kids. And just the normal people. And between that, there wasn't much difference when I was in high school. That's what I remember anyway. Worst confused Matthew review. I don't know, dude. It all blurs together. Like I said, the stuff that you guys hear confused Matthew saying, I've heard for the whole time I've been alive. So it kind of merges together. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that. I'll try to give you an answer. I know there have been some that I didn't think were that great. Do you remember Shred Ninja? He went radio silent. I do remember Shred Ninja. He visited us once. I do remember Shred Ninja. He was a nice guy. He was a little eccentric, but aren't we all? I do. I do. It's funny. I hadn't thought about that guy in a while, but yeah, I hope he's doing all right. I hope he's doing all right. Furries. So I can certainly understand, and as I think everybody can understand, escapism. Now, I thought it was interesting when I first heard about the issue of gender non-binary, meaning I'm not male or female. That's just labels that society gives me, and I'm whatever Z's or Zim and whatever I say I am. Gender's a social construct or whatever. When it came to which I don't agree with that, by the way. I don't think gender's there are social constructs that are built upon pre-existing actual gender distinctions. I think that's and if you've seen my video about gender, that's just my view. There are other views, and I'm fine with that. Only speaking for myself, but when I first heard about the whole gender non-binary thing, when the issue of them wanting to have Zim or whatever on their driver's licenses and being gendered pronouns and stuff, that people have to address them by the pronouns that they prefer at work, even though I found that a little strange and maybe a little unprecedented, I wondered, is this like furries and their fursonas? In a sense, is this like, please treat me as though I'm this other person because I can't be me today? Not like that. I'm not saying that's what gender non-binary. It's not an alter ego the way it is for furries, but is it similar in the sense that please afford me the courtesy of treating me as I'd like to be treated? I'll never say no to that. Rarely. It would have to be pretty extreme. But under normal circumstances, all things being equal, if it's not hurting anybody else, I'll never say no to that. I am very, very, very for treating people with respect and respecting, seeing people as trying to empathize, trying to put myself in other people's place. I've wanted to be treated certain ways and stuff that maybe people didn't feel that I deserved or wanted to, or thought it was stupid or something, and I'll never forget the way that felt. And so I try to do that for everybody as much as possible and as consciously as possible. It totally is. It's the next level of disconnection. The I'm different, treat me different, or you're a bigot. Yeah, I can definitely see that point of view. Things have gotten so, I think that, how do I say this? Sid Alpha, one of my favorite YouTubers, who I watched him before it was cool, before he got thousands of subscribers. He recently got a death threat because of a video game review. I think we tend to go for the jugular more now than we did before the social media era. And so I think that when people cry bigotry, it's usually for things that were done or said under the auspice of anonymity, that can be much more harsh than what you would get in normal everyday interaction. So I can kind of understand why they feel like this has been taken to the next level against them. I'm different, treat me different, or you're a bigot. Let's just leave off the or you're a bigot part. I'm different, treat me different. My reaction to that usually is, okay, that's fine. Yeah, whatever you say, whatever you like, you're you, I'm me. I don't want anybody trying to not treat me the way that I'd like to be treated. It's totally okay to want to be a boy or a girl. if you feel you were born incorrectly, but if you want to be called X, you're just putting yourself behind a wall. So as far as I'm concerned, there are two biological genders, and that there are many different kinds of gender norms that are cultural and not necessary. They're not essential to the human person within that dichotomy of male and female. That's as far as I'm concerned. Now, if somebody says, "Hey, I don't think that. I'd like you to call me Zer or whatever." Okay, I don't feel that this is a communist attempt to bring about the new Soviet Union. I really don't. I don't think that's how that works. I think that these are people. Are sex and gender the same thing? I don't know, man. I don't know. What do we mean when we say that? You tell me. You tell me how you're using those terms. I tend to see sex as your biological makeup constitution of whether you're male or female based on basically your genitalia and hormones. And I tend to see gender, when I say gender, I usually mean how you go about expressing that on a gradient between that dichotomy. That's what I usually mean. This is now we've nitpicked this, so not you and I, but culture, people in general have started to nitpick this apart so much that we have to define our terms beforehand. So it really depends on what people are talking about. Are sex and gender the same thing? I think I don't talk about them as though they're the same things. I make a distinction between biological sex and social norms regarding that biological sex in terms of fashion and roles and that sort of thing. Change my mind. Change my mind is so stupid. God, this is just my personal opinion. Don't let me put you off anybody that you enjoy watching or listening to. But if the person that you're watching or listening to is a major influential media figure, and that person feels it necessary to do a Jay Leno style headlines comedy skit on a college campus with kids who have never been in front of a camera like that before and think that they're demonstrating something, you might want to take it with a grain of salt. Can people be transracial? Would that be cultural appropriation? I don't believe in cultural appropriation. I don't believe that exists. I don't think that happens. Let me immediately redact what I just said. It does happen. It's not cultural appropriation. It's a melting pot. Rap music is on vanilla radio stations today because that culture has blended and meshed with the overall amalgamation of cultures that we call the culture, which I also don't believe that there's anything. I don't believe that there is the culture. It's that amalgamation of things, right? So cultural appropriation, in my opinion, is simply integration of different cultures and stuff blended together. I don't believe in. Sorry, I don't believe in that. I don't believe that what they call cultural appropriation is the sort of cultural imperialism that they think it is. I wouldn't put it in those terms. Can people be transracial? I'm not sure I know what that means. People from different cultures, like white people, can certainly listen to music and speak in dialects and use certain popular phrases that are more popular with other cultures and sort of identify with those other cultures. That can happen. In that sense, I suppose, would we call that transracialism? I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. I like the change my mind meme though. Crowder is a bit of an ass though. God, I said something about him once, and I thought it was spot on, and now I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't dislike him personally, and I support anybody getting their views out there in that kind of a way. His disposition and his affect is great. He's emotionally stable, which is more. We talked earlier about Stefan Molyneux. I don't think Stefan Molyneux is emotionally stable. Steven Crowder's definitely emotionally stable. That's a big thing with me. Do you like anime, or do you and Confused Matthew agree on that front? I have liked 3 animes in my life: Death Note, Lucky Star, and Blue Gender. I think that anime is one method of storytelling, and it's the stories that'll make or break whatever genre you're in. And I loved those 3 shows. Really shows you what that genre can do. I was really impressed. I haven't gotten into a whole lot of anime, but those 3 in particular, I really, really loved. Also, do you watch Mr. Matthew? I don't. I do not. I've never heard of it. Nothing against it. I have never heard of it. I'm glad you didn't say Evangelion. Huh. I don't know. I'll check that out. I've never heard of that either. So much I'm not up on. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to get up on some going to sleep here in about 15 minutes. 15 minutes, guys. What else we got? What else we want to talk about? I'm really tired. Let's see. What was I looking up on my phone while you guys chat to me? So you'll be on for 2 more hours. Yeah, I would if I could. I would if I didn't have a 16-hour workday tomorrow. Let me see. Oh, it was the non-aggression parenting. Yeah, I think I said pretty much all that. This guy seems to. Non-aggression is as simple as that. I own my body, and no one else is allowed to do anything which I don't feel comfortable with as an adult. And the NAP gives children the same respect. I am important. No one is allowed to encroach upon me. And because I own me, others own themselves, and I am not allowed to encroach upon their space. This principle operates on the theory that we all own ourselves, and others are not allowed to do anything which we feel invades that principle. If children are taught that hitting others or acting with violence upon them is not okay, and adults enforce this idea by not using violence against them, then we'll have people that feel entitled to safety and this is where it's starting to lose me a little bit. Entitled to safety and security. I agree with the not using violence part, but I don't think it leads to this. Then we'll have people that feel entitled to safety and security and will not invade others' safety and security. No, I don't think it'll lead to that. We will have people that will be, I think, a little bit more responsible about that, or at least not feel that that's an acceptable solution to deal with someone who isn't doing what you want them to do. Sometimes physical violence is necessary. Sometimes physical violence is necessary for defense. Sometimes physical violence is necessary for defending others. What you don't want to do is teach the child that physical violence is a means of getting people to shut up, or a means of getting people to do what you want them to do, or to stop doing something that you don't want them to do. But no, I don't think that not using and spanking, I would hate to say violence is too strong a word. There's a difference between a spanking and a beating, for sure. But as a form of corporal punishment, I guess violence is an okay word to use. Simply not doing that isn't going to create an environment where people are like, oh, I'm entitled to myself and you're entitled to yourself, so this is the thing that I would be nice, but no, it's not going to do that. That comes from a completely different place. Boy, a lot. What's your opinion on Wesley Crusher? I don't have one. I never hated the character. I nothinged the character. I didn't watch a whole lot of seasons. I really watched seasons 5 through 7 for the most part when he was kind of off the show, so I didn't get to him till later. And some of the later ones with him were actually pretty good. The one where he comes back and he meets the Native American Indian people and the traveler and all that was pretty good. So yeah, not much. Whatever happened to Chris Bohr's rant on Confused Matthew channel? I really didn't like that guy's work at the time. I don't know what happened to it. I think it just got deleted, and the computer that was on is now probably in a landfill somewhere. Do you know of Chris Chan? No, I have never heard of Chris Chan. Confused Matthew removed his old videos, including that Chris Boers rant. Yeah, it's kind of a shame. I think I said something funny about that. Oh yeah, I have to thank you. Your Meet the Spartans video inspired me. In my video production classes, we ran around with green screens. I loved that. That was a good joke, and they ruined it. They beat it to death. I still love that. I still imagine. I want to do a fan edit where they just run around with the green screen because it's not finished. You know, the whole joke is that it's not done yet. Don't make it done. Thoughts on Alexandria Ocasio? I don't know who that is, my friend. Tell me about it. Tell me about him. No, don't show what's on the screen. Just what Stan said about the blue screen joke of Meet the Spartans. No, don't show anything on the green screen or something. Yeah, I remember that. Have you seen many fan films? I have never, to my knowledge, seen a fan film. I watched a reconstruction of the Crow City of Angels. It was called the Crow City of Angels Reborn or something like that, where they tried to recreate the movie as it was supposed to be in the script and not the absolute butchering that the studio did to it. So that's not technically a fan film. It's like a fan reconstruction. That movie was so weird. It was supposed to be very different from the first one. It was supposed to be very different from what they actually released. The story and the ending were very different. And the studio, Harvey Weinstein in particular, sent a memo and said, here's $8 million, do a fuck ton of reshoots and make this thing as close to the first one as possible. And Alex Proyas and, of all people, David Goyer were like, no, that's the opposite of what we were trying to do. And Harvey Weinstein was like, you go in there and do the reshoots. And they did them, and they did what they wanted, and they totally disowned the movie. David Goyer disowned that movie. That's how bad it was. And the problems didn't, so that it got off to a good start in the box office and then failed miserably after that. And what do you call it? So, and then after that, they released the VHS copy of the movie, which I owned, which was called the Exclusive Director's Cut, which was a complete lie. Had nothing to do with the director. It was just more of the reshoot bullshit, and it was about 5 minutes longer or something. And then recently, in the 2010s era, they released a Blu-ray of the fucking movie that also said director's cut, which is complete bullshit. And they said it was in 1080p, which was a complete lie. It wasn't in 1080p. That movie just can't stop being a miserable lying failure. Do you and Matthew still do those hour-long talks? If so, please record it. You guys had the best back and forths. We tried to do that tonight. This live stream that you're looking at right now was supposed to be a Skype call of Confused Matthew and I couldn't get any of the stuff to work. I'm working on it, and we're going to start doing that. We're going to start live streaming together and doing exactly what I'm doing now, except with the two of us talking to you guys and to each other. And yes, Skype, because it has to go through my Xbox, and the Xbox don't got Discord on it. That's how it's going to have to be for now. But we're going to do that. We're also going to try, there's a card game kind of thing called Dice Masters that we're going to play together on camera while we do this and try to get that working, because we like doing that and we usually talk a lot doing that. So should be some cool stuff with that coming up. That's one of the reasons I'm doing this, is just to get into it, and we learn by doing. I remember watching the movie REC based on your review. It was a good, I liked that one. I thought it was a pretty good found footage kind of a thing. Your thoughts on Peppy the Frog? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I believe in you. Thank you. So we got 5 minutes, guys. I'm gonna wrap things up here by saying, was this weird? Was this good? Did you guys like this? Is this something that you'd like to? Thoughts on Jordan Peterson? Go watch my video, dude. I have a video on my channel called Jordan Peterson. You can see my thoughts there. Have you seen the documentary Get Me, Roger Stone? No, I have not. I have seen the movie The Red Pill. I have gone to the Red Pill subreddit. I have done a lot of research about that in men's. I did that MGTOW video thing, and I'm going to do a lot more videos directed at that community and that kind of thing. It just reminded me of documentaries. Okay. I will sign off now and thank everybody who came here. I think I'm going to leave this up. I played a video game earlier that it was terrible. I had to broadcast from my phone and piggyback it onto the thing, and I think I'm going to take that down. But I think I'm going to leave this one up. This was kind of fun. So I will do this again more, maybe weekly. I don't know. Check in and say hi, and I like talking and everything. So I thank you very much. I'm going to go to sleep, and I wish you and yours, anywhere that you are, a pleasant evening. Thank you.